Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Boris Effects Live with me, Ben Brownlee from Boris Effects. So I am going to be running the board solo today. So let's see if this is working. Right. Hi everyone and welcome. Yes, my name is Ben Brownlee from Boris Effects and congratulations. You have happened upon our Boris Effects live stream. This is one of the first ones we've done of this, so we're still trying to sort of work out some of the bugs in the formatting, but it's going to be a fun time. We're going to be looking at Particle Illusion today, and I'm going to be showing you how easy it is to go from like a very, very quick basic preset, of which we have many thousands, and sort of how we can then tweak that into getting something like a more finished product. And we're going to sort of start off. I can see the chat moving its way up over here. If you haven't said hello in the chat already, then please do right now. I do read the chats. I will be asking, I'll be answering questions as we go through. So keep questions coming in the chat. There's also going to be a bit of audience participation in this as well. So at certain points within the presentation, I will be asking for your input because, that's sort of going to give me a little bit more kind of a creative challenge. So that's going to be quite fun. So I think the first thing we're going to have a look at actually is taking a look at some of the things that we can do with Particle Illusion. So if you haven't met Particle Illusion before, it is a 2D particle effect system, which is very much preset driven, and it allows you to do lots of, fun things, whether that's doing motion backgrounds as we've got here, or whether we're coming in and doing some more kind of natural movements or heads up display type of things. All of these are very possible within Particle Illusion. And it also features fun things like forces and deflectors, so we can be bouncing particles off each other and, moving things in different ways. I am not going to be looking at forces and deflectors in this stream. We've got the another wonderful presentation tomorrow that's probably going to go into forces and deflectors a bit more. What I'm going to be focused on, though, is how we work with the presets and kind of just give them a little bit of an extra edge so that we can, very quickly create unique looking motion backgrounds. So without any further ado, and maybe something like that, actually. So without any further ado, let's have a little look at Particle Illusion. And I'll see if I can remember which of my many buttons does this. Yep, there we go. So this is Particle Illusion Standalone. This is the free version of Particle Illusion. So everyone can go and grab that and from boriseffects.com, and you can start to play around with it. And as you see here, the first thing it's going to ask you to do is download some free emitters by clicking on download. So I'm going to hit OK because I've already downloaded my free emitters, and we can see them on the left-hand side over here. So for those of you who aren't actually familiar with Particle Illusion, we're going to have a quick look at what we've got here. So let's come in over into my browse view. So the browse view is probably the place where I spend probably the majority of my first bit of work here. Because what the browse view lets us do is it lets us come in and take a look at our presets. And if I click on any of the presets here, I've got them in my preset window, my preview window. And if I click and drag along there, we can see how they're going to look when you start working with them with the mouse. So drag along there we go. And you can spend hours happily avoiding any sort of real work by just clicking and dragging with all of the presets down here. So you can sort of have a little look and find your smoke and fiery things there. Obviously, if we take a look in the search, we got actually someone who is very dear to my heart, loving the fire emitters. I also love the fire emitters. So if I type in fire, we get just a list of all the fire emitters, which is kind of cool. So we've got one of my favorites that I actually haven't used in quite a while is my wall of fire 2A. This used to be one of my go-to sort of big smoky things. So we've got lots of fiery things, but I'm not going to start with fire. I'm going to start with, well, let's see, if we type in background, then we've got, you know, things that are tagged with backgrounds. So something maybe twirly bars, but I want something maybe a little bit more kind of energetic, a little bit more electric. So if I sort of just have a little search down here, can I find anything that is fitting where I'm going for? Oh, actually, funnily enough, I've got these things called Tron Grid. These are some great little emitters here as well. I use these a ton. I'm not going to lie. These are sort of hidden away in a lot of the old sort of projects I used to do. Anything where there's kind of heads up display type of thing, or any time where you need like kind of little electronic-y kind of motion background, these are all here. One of the questions was, amazing, these are all for free? Yes. I'm as shocked as you are. Yeah, you get the Particle Illusion Standalone, which is what we're working on, plus the 3,000 emitters for free, just on borisfx.com. So I'm going to use my Tron grid, and I'm going to just actually set this as a favorite. So I can add that to my favorites list just by clicking on the star. I'll find another couple. That's kind of cool. Tron Grid 3. Tron Grid Push. Yeah, that's kind of all right. I'll put a star on that one as well. And actually, let's just type in Tron in here. I've got a ton of little Tron type of things, which I kind of like. So Tron Enhance. Give me my little enhance flow. Oh, flow. There we go. Cool. So once I've got a few of these, actually, even that one, maybe not that one. The problem is I've always got an embarrassment of riches here. So I could spend ages just kind of going through and finding which ones I want to play around with, but we're not going to do that. That would be, quite a sort of, not boring stream maybe, but maybe not the most fun stream if I was just to do that. But I'm going to come up and I'm going to load up a different interface now. Sorry, different view. I'm going to go back to my default view, and we can just come over here and I can start to kind of just sort by thumbnails or sort by favorites. So let's add a couple of these to the background or to my stage over here. So I just double click, add this onto the stage, and I've got my Tron grid, which I can then resize and then just play back. And that's kind of looking all right. I'm going to add in Tron Grid 3. Let's have a little look there. That's kind of interesting as well. Let's see if I can do something else with this. Maybe they make this one a little bit bigger and just play that back. So if we have a little look at the interface now, on the left-hand side, I've still got my presets, or actually the favorites I've got at the moment, with the preset browser up there. And I've got my controls in the middle. I've got my viewer, which is called the stage in Particle Illusion, up on the top right-hand corner. And I've got the curve editor down in the bottom right. And I don't really want to do too many changes with this. Let's have a little look. Because all of these things we can make changes to. All of these presets are entirely customizable. So if I wanted to come in and make any sort of change, I've got not only changes I can make at the emitter level, which is like at the biggest level, but I can make changes at the particle level as well. So Tron Grid 3 is made up of boxes, grids, actually 4 different types of grids, and all of these I can sort of come in and make loads of changes. But I want to do something a bit different than that, because we've got, you know, tons of tutorials up on the website and on our YouTube channel about how you sort of dive deep into all of these parameters. What I want to try to do today is not dive deep at all. I just want to show you what you can do, making very, very tiny tweaks just to the presets. So any changes I'm going to make are just going to be at the emitter level up at the top here. So like at the sort of biggest level we can do. So if I look at my my grid, let's actually turn off the other grid. So if I look at this grid here, maybe I want a few more to come in. So I haven't sort of filled up this too much. So what I can do with this is I can just come into my number and just increase the number up a little bit. Probably don't want to increase it too much there. I can also open up properties, and we can see that because this is an area emitter, we can choose how many points these are emitted at. So it's like a grid almost. So we sort of control how many points there are on this grid. So if I wanted more complex area here, then all I have to do is just turn up the number of points on the grid. And if I think it's looking all right, it's maybe looking a little bit too busy. So what I can do with this is maybe take the number down again, maybe take that to 4. Let's play that back. And that's looking all right. And you might not be able to see this on the stream, but it is like quite fast as it sort of refreshes. So what we can do to slow that down is, instead of going into all of these individual particles individually and sort of tweaking all of that stuff up, I'm just going to come up to my life and just increase that there. And this life parameter works as a sort of percentage multiplier on the life that is set down here in all the other particles. So this can have the effect of making my particles sort of live longer, or I can take the life down and we get a more sort of scanner type of effect. Kind of like that. Cool. So let's turn on my other grid, the starting grid. Yeah. All right. That's starting to look all right. Okay. So I'm going to add a couple more things. So I'm just going to add some of my Tron flow, and just by double clicking, it's going to put that down. I'm going to put that up at the top somewhere there. And you see down on the timeline down here, this controls when this layer starts. So my Tron flow is going to start around about a second and a half in. So we're going to have nothing at the start, and then it's going to pop in there. Cool. Add another copy of this. So just double click on that again. Bring that in there. There we go. Put that down to the bottom and start that maybe a second in. Cool. All right. So now we've got 2 of the same types of emitters popping in, and they're looking very, very similar. So if I wanted to, we got someone who is actually cheating a little bit. Someone's asked a question. Louis has asked a question. How do I rotate a layer? Well, I have an angle control, so I can just rotate it just like that. And that rotates in the emitter. That's just going to rotate the layer straight away for me like that. So I can reposition that up there. Boom, that's going to push that up. And if I wanted to find something else, let's go with the grid flow again there. If I wanted these particles to move up a little bit more, I could either try the velocity. So not all of these presets are built in the same way. They all kind of, they share sort of similar ways of being built, but obviously different artists have use different techniques to get these working. So if I want these to move, particles to move faster, and it's not doing anything when I scrub through velocity, then I know they've used a different technique than velocity to make these particles move. So if I use weight instead, that's always my second go-to for moving my particles. You can see here with the weight is now making those particles move up a lot faster. Cool. I've got a few questions. Oh, while that's playing back, let's got a few questions here. We have got from Focus Video, how do I get what's created in the standalone into Premiere? A couple of different ways. One way, we can just render it out, which is what we're going to do in a second. The other way is to just save out the Particle Illusion project, and we can open that in the plugin version of Particle Illusion as well. So we're using the free standalone version of Particle Illusion right now, but all of the stuff that we're doing here can be saved and imported into the premium plugin version. And if you hold your horses till the end of the stream, I will be giving away a copy of the of that premium Particle Illusion filter. In fact, not just that one. It will be as part of a 12-month subscription to Boris Continuum Complete, also known as Boris Continuum now. So the sort of full suite of Continuum, which Particle Illusion is a piece of. So that's going to be quite cool. Another question, are all the elements keyframeable? Absolutely they are. We're not going to be doing tons of keyframing on this, but absolutely they are. And is this really live? I think it is. Yes, it is. There we go. So let's render this out. See if I've got time to take any more questions while this is rendering. So I'm happy with what I've got right now. So I'm just going to come into render, and I'm going to browse and find a place to save this out. This is where we take an uncomfortable pause while my hard drives wake up. Maybe I'll keep talking and looking at a few of these. When we try to install, why is it asking for phone number and details? You probably are wanting to register. If you want to register for the premium emitters, you will have to register on the Boris Effects website. Have to create an account, just so we know where you're going and what we've got there. So that's probably why it's asking you for those details. Just because if you don't have a Boris Effects account, got to create one to get the other emitters. If you just want to work with the sample emitters that come with the standalone version, there is no extra registration. There's just the one that you go to just to do the download. Cool. All right. So here we go. Let's shake that back up. There we go. So what I'm going to do now is find a place to save this. I will call this one Ben's live stream backgrounds. There we go. And I can choose from lots of different render presets. We can render out to Apple ProRes with or without alpha channel. We can also render out to a H.264, just an MP4. But I'm just going to use the preset to take us out to the Apple ProRes down here. All of these are customizable as well. We can even force motion blur. All of this stuff is covered in some great little tutorials by John Dickinson on our YouTube channel. So we've got, I think there's like 19 or 20 videos up there already about how you use Particle Illusion. And those go through all of the sort of basics you need up to the not so basics and how to sort of put things together in a creative way. So that's definitely worth looking at. And now that's done, if I didn't have headphones plugged in, you'd have heard a nice big bring on there, and that would have told me it is done. So that's cool. So that's rendered out as a file. I'm also going to save this project, and I'm going to save it as my Tron background. Save that there. And let's come into After Effects and actually do something with it. So let's find After Effects. Where are you, After Effects? You are here. Excellent. Now I'm using After Effects because it's the one that's got, you know, most of the filters that I want to work with. You can do most of this stuff in, you know, any system you want to. It's going to be the same. Now I've got this as a, let's move me over here. Hang on a second. Let's move me down there. There we go. Yeah, so this is, because this is now a rendered file, I can now do whatever I want to do with it. Let's go have a little look. Oh, actually, a good question from Mark. When you tweak a particle system, does it change the particle settings in the library? It does not, no. So if you tweak stuff up and you really like what you've done with it, you can actually save it out as a custom emitter. So you can save it out as your own emitter as well. And those are little files that you can then sort of share around with your friends and family. Nothing makes a better Christmas gift than a set of Particle Illusion emitters. That is the truth. My friends and family don't talk to me anymore, which is very strange. Cool. So I've actually got this in here now. Let's have a little look. Let's go to which of these? There we go. That's me up there. So this actually could be used straight out of the box now. One of the things I like to do with these is actually add a little bit more of my Ben love to my particles or my renders. And this generally boils down to three different things. If I want a quick motion background and I don't want it to look exactly like I've used a preset, I'll do three different things. I'll add a bit of distortion to it. I will add a bit of color correction to it, and I will almost inevitably add a bit of glow to it as well. So it's those three things: distortion, color correction, glow. And that always makes all of these kind of abstract motion backgrounds look a whole lot fun. So let's come in, and I'm going to add, let's come over, actually just into our distortion areas here. I'm going to use just like the straightforward standard Adobe After Effects standard distortion stuff just to begin with, just so you can see what you can do just with the free stuff. And then we'll move on to some other stuff afterwards. So there are tons of fun little distortion-y things we've got here. I like stuff. And where are you? Where have you got to? Like some of the real kind of classic things, like maybe not the griddler for this one. But where are you? Where have you gone? It's gone away. It's gone away. Like some of the things like blobby eyes is actually quite fun. Not for this one, obviously. Let's take away our cutaway. But actually that can be kind of interesting to sort of get you into a kind of sort of a, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a sort of watery, undergroundy type of thing. Like stick a copy of this over with a blend mode, and you've got something interesting happening. I'm actually going to use, what am I going to use on this one? I'm not sure what I'm going to use. Hang on a sec. I'm just going to actually wing it. See what we got. I do actually prepare for these things. You know, you might not believe me, but I actually do prepare for these things quite a bit. So I'm going to go with, let's go with something like the CC Bender. No, not the CC Bender. Surely. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, CC Bender. There we go. It's actually quite fun. So if I do like a sharp thing to the distance and maybe move this up and down a little bit. You can see this is kind of bending it so it's looking a little bit in the background. There we go. And I'm going to make this look a little bit 3D just by animating up that bend. Am I winging it and doing it live? Absolutely I am. Let's have a little look, see how that's going. Do you know, that's all right. That's all right. I'm not going to complain about that. I think that's looking kind of cool. All right. It's just something to take it away from being 100% just based on presets, just giving it a little bit of love. And I think I'm going to now add in a bit of color correction and a bit of a blur. So the color correction I'm going to do, and then I'll come back to it. I'm just going to stick a curves on there. I've called this one blur. I'm going to call this one color correction. I'm going to make another adjustment layer, and I'm going to call this one blur. And I've got actually DJ Lex, maybe. Scanline effects are always good. Excellent point. I will be doing that in a moment. That's definitely a good idea. And I'm just going to come into my blurs. Again, I'm just going to use the blurs that are included in After Effects, so the fast box blur. And I'm just going to blur that up. And that's going to go away. And I'm going to change my blend mode from normal to add. And I'm going to take my CC and I'm going to bring that up a little bit and just give a bit of an S curve on there. There we go. So now, if we turn this on and off, we've got just a little bit of a blur going over the top there. That's kind of cool. Going to add another one, and I'm going to do a shout out to my new friend DJ Lex with scan lines, and I'm going to use some scan lines. Now I've got a few block dissolve scan lines. Let's see if I can use the transition to actually do this. Sort of. Yeah, that'll work. There we go. That's kind of fun. And I'm going to do one more little thing over the top, and that is going to add a glow. Now, again, I'm just going to use the standard After Effects glow, which is going to be under Stylize, I'm sure. Thank you very much. And let's just glow that up a lot. Stick glow intensity up. I'm not going to do too much with this because it's just for a quick little show. Let's have a little look at that one. Do you know what? That is not doing too badly at all. What is doing too badly is me pressing all of these buttons at random, and there we go. Get rid of all of that there. Cool. So that's kind of all of a sudden, like after a couple of minutes of just playing around in After Effects, obviously having the huge plan that I did. I'm not going to call this one Tron. I'm going to call this one Tron, and stick this in the middle. Stick my text underneath the glow. Shall I stick it underneath the scan lines? Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. There we go. And we got something that, you know, it actually looks kind of fun. There we go. I could probably come in and just play around with the colours a little bit more, do some fun little stuff on that. But I think we've got something that's kind of interesting going on. Basically, just by playing around a little bit there. Best render to add to Vegas. I reckon if you can take this out as I'm trying to think if Vegas can read ProRes. If Vegas can read Apple ProRes files, absolutely the best way to go. Your other choice is going to be H.264, which is always going to be a bit more sort of work on the system to try to read, but you know, that's the other choice that you got. Cool. All right. So that's the first sort of way of doing it. I'm going to go and play around a little bit more. I think. What time we got? What time is it at the moment? We've got tons of time. Oh, great. Fantastic. So let's come in. I'm going to start off with something that looks very inauspicious, I think is the way. It's not going to look, like we're actually doing a lot of work in Particle Illusion. But then I'm going to show you how we can then build that up with some of the other Boris effects filters to actually make something a lot more fun. And this is, start a new project again, get rid of my favorites. And let's have a little look here. Yeah, if you're just joining us for the stream, we have been working in Particle Illusion Standalone, which is the free version of Particle Illusion that you can download on the Boris Effects website right now. Actually, don't do it right now. Do it in half an hour when I'm finished talking. And all you have to do is just register, and you'll get, 2,500 extra emitters for free, which is all of these fun things here. So many emitters that we created a brand new way of looking at them, which is the browse layout, which is definitely a lot easier to look at. There we go. I happen to know sort of what I'm going to be looking at on this one. So I'm going to go back to my default layout. And I'm going to go into my emitters 2020.5. We have Steve wanting me to do something with flames. I would do something with flames, but I've done tons of stuff with flames in some of the tutorials that are on our YouTube channel. So check out those and then come back, because I'm sure I'm going to be doing another live stream, and I'll definitely do something with flames here as well. Question, Trap Code Particular versus Particle Illusion. Two very, very different beasts. Particle Illusion is a 2D particle system, and it's sort of designed. It's very, very much designed with presets in mind as your starting off point. Everything we do in presets can be changed, customized really, really easily, as we'll see in some of the other videos. I'm seeing John Dickinson's presentation tomorrow. Very, very easy to make all of these presets your own. And Particle Illusion is available as a standalone and as an effect for Adobe, which After Effects, Premiere, OFX hosts, so things like Vegas, and also for Avid as well. So it's available as a plugin for all of those. As far as I know, Particular is After Effects only. So if you aren't working with After Effects, you don't have access to Particular's particles. If you don't have access to After Effects, everyone has access to Particle Illusion's particles, and they're doing very different things. I'm going to look at the next one, which is going to be based off of there we go, an emitter from. Sorry, I do get really, really caught up in playing with these emitters. I'm going to base this off one of the emitters from the 2020.5 presets. So we've got a lot of retro arcade style of emitters here, which I absolutely love. And I'm going to start off with one that's called Vector Ice Falls. Maximum resolution that can be rendered out, asks someone. Manoj, that is 8K. So yeah, in fact, if I make my stage, let's go to my project settings. Keep going down, scroll all the way down. There we go. I've got an 8K preset there, but we can make our project any size up to 7680 by 4320. Let's cancel that and keep it here. Cool. So I'm going to add my vector ice falls to the screen. There we go. And so this preset is going to end up looking like, let's see if I can do a quick play on this one, is going to end up looking like the background that I used for this. Because during one of my other live streams, actually a couple of people were asking how I did the motion background on this. And I said I'd show them in a different live stream, and this is the one. And I'm going to say that this is a magic trick. It's one of those things, as soon as you know the secret to it, you're going to be disappointed, because it looks a lot more complicated than it actually is. So I will be thrown out of the magician's magic circle for showing us this, but we're going to be all right. So I'm going to come in. I'm not going to make any changes at all to this preset. Nothing at all. Only thing I'm going to do is turn on animate mode. I'm going to move like 2 seconds forwards. I'm going to animate my emitter from left to right. Going to move 2 seconds forwards again and move it back and forth. Now, if I was working in the plugin version of this is something that I could easily just automate with an expression. But I'm doing this in the standalone just to show that you also can do this with the free version of Particle Illusion as well. So this is it. This is my my background going back and forth, and this is all the source material I actually need. And this is the really cool thing about Particle Illusion, is that you don't have to spend tons and tons of time actually in Particle Illusion to make something really, really cool out of it. So I'm not going to do anything else. I do want to show you one thing. I'm just going to composite this over a checkerboard to show you that all of these particles have alpha. So we've got transparency on here. So if I come to render and I wanted to render with the transparency, I just have to make sure that I choose the right ProRes 4444 plus alpha channel. So either pre-multiplied or straight alpha. DJ Lex back at me with those asteroids, right? Very 80s. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. I am actually still of the age of spending all of my pocket money on asteroids and Donkey Kong Jr. Actually, Donkey Kong Jr. was one of my favorites. And that's distracted me from what I'm going to call this one. I will call this one Ice Live Stream Background. And I'm just going to start that render. And while that's rendering in the background, while that's rendering in the foreground, I will be having a little look, seeing what we've got here. Can you import Rodney asks, can you import a pre-rendered 3D sequence, for example, coins from a modeler, and import the frames into Particle Illusion? Yes, you can. Yeah. All of the shapes that we see that are used as particle types, all of those are completely customizable. So you can bring in image sequences, you can bring in still frames, and use those as starting off points for your particles as well. And that's a very good technique to use. That is done. I do miss not having the little bling that says that I've done, but it's fine. And let's come in. Before I do that, Louis asks, the timeline is expressed in which units, and can it be changed and extended? We are in frames, and yes, they can be extended or shrunk down to whatever you want. So we can either set up just like a work range here, or we can come into the project settings and you can change your duration and your frame rate right in here. one last question before we moved into After Effects again. Can it use a vector file as a particle? No, you can't. No, it has to be a bitmap file or like something like a PNG. So not a vector file. No. When I say it has to be a bitmap file, it doesn't just mean a BMP file. Any sort of non-vector based format. All of the sort of supported vectors, all of the supported file formats are in the manual. Can you set it to seconds? No, you can't, but you have to do a little bit of maths. So if you're working at 25 frames a second, you have to do your division by there. Cool. So back in After Effects, I will import my ICE live stream background. And this is what we've got. Let's see if we've brought it in with the alpha channel. We have. Fantastic. And this is what we've got. So I'm going to take a quick cup of tea. Hang on a second. Not a whole cup of tea, obviously, but just enough for me to come in and actually have a title graphic for it. There we go. And let's bring me back. Right place. Cool. So this is what we've got so far. And I'm going to do the same sort of things as we did previously. And that's add my little magic trick. A bit of distortion, bit of color correction, a bit of glow. So for the distortion, I'm going to use some of the sapphire effects. And let's come over here. And I'm going to use anyone who's followed any of my tutorials on YouTube. This is going to be a little bit of a greatest hits for some of those things, because I tend to find things that I love and then end up using them until people tell me to stop. So I'm going to see, add infinite zoom in here. And infinite zoom is going to create a nice little zoom in here. Focus video, I have seen your question. I will answer it. He asks, how do you import anything to PI? Didn't see where. I will come back to that. Yeah, so what we're doing here is we're creating a kind of an infinite area for our little looping. Where are you? There we go. Our little looping particles here. So I'm going to set this up so that we have a shrink of about 5.5. It doesn't really matter really what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to do this until it starts looking good. So bring my zoom up a little bit. Whee, that's looking fun. Set that. Actually, that's looking pretty cool. Do my spiral strands there. Twist things up a little bit. I'm actually kind of liking where this is going already. This might be a little bit too much. We might be a little bit heavy on that side. So I might want to zoom out just a little bit, or zoom in or something. Do something. It might be, maybe even just rotate it around a little bit. Find the twist. Maybe not. That's kind of cool. Stephanie asks, do I render the particles separately and do it all in AE? If I'm working with the plugin version of Particle Illusion, I don't even have to render out. I can just do everything within, like live within After Effects. Because I'm using the standalone version, the free version, I will have to render it out. And Stephanie, I will answer your question as well about how to get the PNG as the basis of the particle as well in just a little bit when we come back into Particle Illusion. Cool. So I've got a little bit of distortion going on there. That actually works as sort of just as it is. I kind of like that, but I'm going to add another couple of little bits to it. And there is documentation. Someone else, Christopher asked, the documentation of all the particle settings. Yes, there is. There is also a series of free tutorials where myself and John Dickinson go through all of them as well. Actually, John takes over the sort of the hard part of going through what all the settings do. I just get the fun part of playing around with particles, which is always good. Yeah, so the next bit I'm going to do here is actually do a bit of a kaleidoscope. Again, I'm using sapphire filters, so I'm going to use sapphire kaleidoscope radial, and this just brings me in as a kind of little radial. There we go, radial kaleidoscope. Now I could come in here and sort of do a ton of little changes or big changes to this. I'm not really going to. I might do a few little bits and bobs, just basically experiment about with the rotation in and out until it looks kind of cool. That's looking all right. I'm wondering what is causing that there. Okay. You see here, we've got the, if I turn the effect on and off, I'm not sure I like everything sort of blowing out too much like that. So what I might do is just change up my zoom center on the infinite zoom until we don't have as many of those flashes anymore. Don't want to get in trouble for all of the epileptic triggering that I will be doing if we just have lots of little flashes. Mike asks, he says he's got here late. Will there be a replay? Yes, we will. We'll keep this one up live on our YouTube channel. So you'll be cool on that. So we've got our particles. We have got our infinite zoom. We have got our kaleidoscope, just doing little bits and bobs. So that is starting off to do our distort. So I'm going to do my color correction now. And with the color correction, I am going to come in. I'm going to add a new solid. Let's do this where I don't use keyboard shortcuts. Just come up and add a new solid. And I will call this one color. And I will use a U because that is my right. There we go. I'm not going to get into a whole color versus color thing, but just know I will be using a U. And I'll also be sticking on a gradient ramp in there. So these are the colors I want to use to actually colorize my particles up now. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to change these from being black and white to being maybe this kind of cyan-ish. We'll figure this out as we go. And we'll get a green there. Turn this into a radial ramp. And let's set our start color in there. And just move the green color out there. And then all I'm going to do is just set my blend mode on this to hue. Okay, so this is not quite looking how we expect it to. And this is a really, really common problem that people face. Because we've rendered out stuff, everyone loves cyan, come on. Matt, thank you. Yeah, because we've worked with stuff that has got alpha channel on it, when we stick something over with hue over the top, it's also going to colorize our background as well. So to stop that, I'm going to go and use one of my channel controls, maybe even just like something like either set channels or shift channels, and then set my alpha to full on. And that should, hang on a second, maybe I'll need a adjustment layer over the top of that. Need that somewhere. And this will work. You will work. Because we don't want that happening there. Actually, what I might do, it'll be even easier. Stick a black background in the background, or stick a black solid in the background. That might work. There we go. We don't have to keep this as a black solid, but it does sort of show us our things there. I couldn't use a track matte, no, because a track matte would, or could I use a track matte? No, because then I just want to do that. I could easily pre-comp it, but I'm going to do pre-comping later as well. And I want to get rid of, I don't want to do too many pre-comps because it's going to start getting messy. But thank you for all the suggestions. So yeah, we've got our little color sort of going on now. I'm going to add another thing. How would that look with polar coordinates? Peter, this would look awesome with polar coordinates. Do you know how I know that? Because I did this in a project that is available in the Particle Illusion Sizzle, and I used that exact effect. So basically sticking a polar coordinates over the side, over the top, wraps around, looks nice. Very, very good instincts. I'm going to add another one in here that is not a sapphire filter. I'm going to add a BCC reflection over the top. Again, I'm just playing my greatest hits here. These are some of my favorite filters, and why not get a chance to use them with my favorite particle illusion. So all I'm going to do here is just shift up my my image plane just a little bit. So I'm going to have this kind of sitting on top of a watery kind of area. Maybe not. Maybe just take the height up a little bit there. Take my reflection softness a little bit there. Do I want a ripple? Maybe, maybe not. Let's have a little look. It's kind of getting there. It's doing something anyway. I think it's actually quite it's maybe doing a little bit too much. So what I might do is come in and bring in a curves color correction, which I said I was going to do that really right at the start, and kind of cut out some of the some of those particles. Now this is a reason why it's actually kind of nice to be able to have this as the plugin version of Particle Illusion, because I could just come in here and tweak these things up on the fly rather than having to re-render stuff out or use a curves as I'm doing here. But that's not too bad. That's kind of fun. That's kind of interesting. I'm going to add one more over the top, which is going to be my fly eyes hex. Again, this is a classic Ben. There we go. Classic Ben style of filter. I'm just going to keyframe this up a little bit. So this just separates things out, so it looks like we're looking at this thing through glass. And this is coming on. I'm just rendering it out now. It's looking all right. And all I'm going to do now is it's kind of looking all right, but I think we're kind of getting away from where I want to go to. But it's looking all right. But all I'm going to do is come back to, you remember that black solid I made about 5 minutes ago? I'm actually going to do something with that. I'm going to come to generate. I'm going to come to 4 color gradient, which is another one of my little secret weapons. I use this all the time. Instead of the linear gradient, always use a 4 color gradient. And I'm just picking colors off of the thing here. And that is going to give me that same sort of flavor that I'm looking for. So I can just come back, make this a lot darker, because obviously we want those particles to kind of stand out quite a bit. So we got something, really dark around about there. And we got something that's looking all right. Okay, so we got 2 of the 3 ingredients of my little secret sauce. We got the particles with distortion. We got particles with the color correction. Only thing that's missing now is the glow. Going to add another adjustment layer. Going to come in here. I'm going to call this one Ben's Beautiful Glow. And this is definitely a greatest hits. This is one of my favorite things to do. In fact, it's such a favorite thing to do that I made a tutorial all about this. And this is using the Sapphire Effects Builder with the S-Effect effect to make a nicer glow than the one that comes with After Effects. It's a much nicer glow. Because Sapphire's got a gorgeous glow. So I thought, okay, Sapphire's got a gorgeous glow. It's also got the builder. So why don't I come in and use the builder to make my own little glow? And I call this one the Bigger Beautiful Glow. And if we search on YouTube, if you search on YouTube for Bigger Glow Boris effects, it's going to be the first video that pops up is me talking about how to get this effect. And basically, I'm just going to turn off some of these things here, some of the brightness. But basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use it to come in, find the hottest spots that I can, and then build these up. I'm not going to go through exactly what I'm doing because I think it's roughly about 20 minutes talking about it, and it's such a cool effect that it's going to be worth 20 minutes of your time. So just something like this. We'll just glow that up a little bit. Let's play that back. Let's have a little look at some of the questions we've got. Harry's asking if the plugin works in Edius. I'm not sure if that is one of the supported OFX hosts. I don't know. To be honest with you, I'm sorry about that. There we go. Esoteric question, playing with PI now. Is there a way to hide show particles within an emitter? Yes, there is. Dead. The feed went